So let's talk about the word mission. What does it actually mean for Christians today? You hear it all the time, but it's one of those ideas that can be pretty misunderstood. In this explainer, we're going to break down the modern theological framework that really guides how this whole concept is put into practice. And I think this quote from Rick Warren just nails it. It perfectly frames the conversation we're about to have. It completely shifts the focus, right? It's not about how many people you can pack into a building, but about how many people you're actively sending out into the world with a purpose. Okay, so sending capacity sounds great, but what does that sending actually look like in our modern, super globalized world? What's the real goal here, and what are the core principles guiding it? Well, let's dive in and find out. To really get our heads around the how of Christian mission, we have to start with the theological why. And the foundation for it all, well, it might actually surprise you. It doesn't begin with people at all. The entire modern framework is really built on this one single powerful Latin term, missio Dei. Seriously, this is the theological bedrock for everything else we're going to discuss, and it completely reframes who's at the center of the story. Missio Dei literally just translates to the mission of God. And you have to understand this is a huge paradigm shift. It means mission isn't something the church invented or started. It's something God is already doing to redeem and restore the world. The crucial point here is that humans are simply invited to join in on that work, not create it themselves. So if it's God's big mission, how does that translate into a specific instruction for believers? This next part is basically where the theology gets its marching orders. That instruction comes from a passage known as the Great Commission, which you can find in the Gospel of Matthew. It's understood as Christ's direct command to his followers to go and make disciples of all nations. This really serves as the core biblical mandate for all global mission work. And when you unpack that, the implications are massive. First, it's a call for every single believer, not just a handful of professional missionaries. Second, the goal isn't just a one-time conversion, it's deep, lifelong discipleship. Third, its scope is global. It literally says all nations. And finally, it's modeled on the incarnation itself, the idea of living among people, emphasizing presence and relationship, not just proclaiming something from a distance. So if the mission is global, that immediately brings up a huge practical challenge. I mean, how on earth do you communicate a single message across thousands of different cultures and do it respectfully and effectively? Think about it. The language, the values, the history, the art, it's all different. So how does the framework avoid simple misunderstanding, or even worse, avoid just imposing one culture onto another? And this illustrates a really important strategic principle. A valid historical criticism is that mission has at times just looked like imposing Western culture. The modern theological goal, though, is the exact opposite. It's about a practice called faithful contextualization, which is all about respecting and honoring local cultures. So contextualization is the key strategy here. It's the whole process of communicating the core gospel message using the language, the idioms, and even the cultural forms like art or music of the local context. It's this delicate balance of being faithful to the original message while also being genuinely relevant to the people hearing it. Okay, so we've covered the why, the missio Dei, and the what, the Great Commission. Now let's get into the how. How does all this theology actually translate into practical strategy on the ground today? A really huge shift in modern mission strategy is this heavy emphasis on partnership and collaboration. You know, the old model of the lone Western missionary is being replaced by a model that's all about building partnerships with local leaders and working together as a global church. A fantastic way to visualize this is with the analogy of a symphony orchestra. In this picture, God is the conductor, directing the whole plan. The gospel message is the musical score, and every believer and every church is a musician with their own unique part to play. And when they all work together in harmony, the world gets to hear the beauty of the complete piece. So what does getting involved actually look like? Well, the suggested pathway is pretty clear. It starts with a foundation of study and prayer. Then it moves to connecting with existing teams already on the ground. But the key is that final step, participation. It should always, always be guided by a posture of cultural sensitivity and humility, not showing up like you have all the answers. All right, finally, let's take a look at the current landscape. The world is changing so rapidly, and that presents both new challenges and some really interesting new opportunities for global engagement. We're seeing three clear trends emerge. What's happening right now is that digital platforms are accelerating collaboration in ways we've never seen before. The near future points to a growing focus on holistic mission, which just means integrating evangelism with tangible actions for justice and community development. And looking ahead, the future focus? In a world this globalized, cultural intelligence is quickly becoming the most essential skill of all. And this is absolutely critical. The primary metric for success is no longer about short-term stats like conversion numbers. Instead, it's all about long-term impact, the sustainability of local indigenous leadership, and the depth of discipleship in that community. The goal is empowerment, not dependency. It's a huge shift. So, this all leaves us with a final big question to chew on. As our world becomes more interconnected than ever, but also maybe more polarized, what is the future of global mission? How will these core principles of God's initiative, cultural respect, and genuine partnership adapt to whatever challenges tomorrow brings?